what's the test though? Like, what do they have to do? Is it? I'm assuming it's not like a multiple choice.
That's right. So two really important points, and I promise I'll hit both of them, or I'll do the best I can. So let's go to the first question, which is like, well, how do strength and conditioning coaches? And I'm so glad you brought us back to that. And here's why. Those great coaches that I've been around, they were like, Scott, can this make me a better teacher? And I was like, yes, that's what it's intended for. See, I see strength and conditioning coaches, they teach as much as they motivate, if not more. And so one of the things that happened, so there was a specific athlete I can think of where they were just struggling in the weight room. They couldn't quite figure it out. It was really a lot to do with form. And so I looked at their AIQ score, and sure enough, their multiple target search was off. And multiple target search is like kind of like a Where's Waldo task. It's the ability to look for minute details in a crowded space. And so what was interesting was the coach was telling the player to watch his performance on a video playback. So they were doing, like, I'll just kind of make it up, like they were kind of doing like they were doing like a dead pull or something like that, you know, or a squat. And they had it on a video where after he did it, they would have him watch it. And on the video, like on the little iPad, they're watching the video, and the coach would start just blasting them with all these touch points about their form. You see your hips, you see your knees, all this kind of stuff. And him scanning his own video, he was getting lost. By contrast, another thing that we measure is called target comparison, which is the ability to compare two pieces of information, like are these things the same or are they different? So the coach, the strength coach, came to me and was like, hey, I'm really having a hard time. And he was somebody who was really on cutting edge technology. Like, again, he was using video to give them feedback loops and stuff. And I said, have you ever done like a side-by-side? So again, you're showing them good squat form. Have you ever done like a side-by-side where you have him compare his form to somebody who's got a perfect form? And he's like, no, I just show him his form. I said, if you do this comparable, that actually plays more to his true cognitive tendency. And that's the kind of frustration that we're trying to save. Now, Fernando, bringing it back to your question about, okay, so what is it? What does it look like? We wanted to make it universal. Justin kind of mentioned this earlier. Like, we wanted to make sure that there was no biases. So things like wealth, socioeconomic status, race, religion, but also country of origin. As important as it was for us to test somebody from like rural Iowa or inner city Miami, we also wanted to be able to test somebody from the Netherlands or Australia. So the test is nonverbal by nature. It's a lot of games and visual tasks. It's all done on an iPad. It takes about 30 to 35 minutes to administer. And what most athletes say, the two most common comments we get is, damn, that shit was hard. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Oh, you can swear. You can.
Oh, okay. They'd say, damn, that was hard. And then the other thing they'd say is, this is so much better than you asking me multiple choice questions, or do I like dogs or cats or anything. They found it to be engaging because it's kind of like playing games like Candy Crush.
Like that, one of the things that I was thinking, like putting my nerd hat on, as you were coming up with these tests, did you have to, or did you have a difficult time? I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this. Were you guys, as you were making up those tests, or were they already prior validated? And did you have any issue when you were taking, okay, this test with, you know, the game and the matching, once you added them all together, now it's a new test. Now it's a new question. Did you have any validity and reliability issues? Because I was coming into that when I was doing the PhD. I was like, okay, we have to make sure that we use this already validated thing versus going through the whole validation process.
So let's friggin' nerd it up, bro. Great question. Great question. And this is where I love to give my partner Jim Bowman a world of credit. Here's what we did. The first thing we did was we followed the American Psychological Association's ethical guidelines for test construction, which meant we had to do test, retest, reliability. We had to do construct validity. Like, we followed all of that to the nth degree. So that's step one. Step two was we took something called the Cattell-Horn-Carroll theory of intelligence, CHC theory. And the CHC theory is the predominant theory of intelligence being used in all intelligence, in most intelligence tests right now. So it is the gold standard. So if you're familiar with things like the Woodcock-Johnson or the Stanford-Binet or the Wechsler scales, these are all things that have been used in schools to identify things like learning disabilities or giftedness in children for decades. It is where it's just where the most research exists. So what we did was we took old wine and we put it in a new bottle. So we took all of these elements of the CHC theory because it was so bona fide, it was so gold starred, and then we put it to a new world, which was sports. But to your point and to your credit, once we migrated it over, we had to again follow the American Psychological Association's ethical guidelines. And so it took us about 15 years to develop. And it was all about ensuring the integrity of the results and the test itself. And the reason why is like you can visually see somebody who's fast. You just have them run. But you can't always visually see somebody who's smart. And we wanted our numbers to be so laser focused that there would be no doubt. Like, yes, that's what we're seeing. So we took, what's the old, on the shoulders of giants, right? That expression on the shoulder. We took what was the gold standard and then we brought it to a new world and then we tested it and then retested it to make sure that it had just the highest fidelity. So that way, going back to Fernando, not only are we just giving a number, we're also giving a sport-specific and a position-specific analysis and recommendation.
Another question that I had hearing you talk there was, okay, for the strength and conditioning coaches out there, more and more of them are graduating, for lack of a better term, into directors of high performance. And as a director of high performance, a sports psychologist would, I guess, fall underneath the reporting lines or whatnot. It seems like somebody in your position with your knowledge could do a fantastic job in one of those roles as well. How do you see a symbiotic relationship between strength coach, sports psychologist? How do you see that evolving and getting, more of them in the field, because there are, a good amount of strength coaches already?
So I'll say this, and hopefully it doesn't turn off your audience, but my superpower is my authenticity and transparency. Like,
that's what we are at Strength Coach Network. Like, listen, we don't beat around the bush. You're good, bro.
Well, look, if my breath stinks, I'd like somebody to tell me my breath stinks so I can put a mitt in there. If someone tells me you're fine, and then I go and talk to somebody else and they pass out, I'm like, dude, why didn't you tell me my breath stinks? That, the king of Spain just passed out when I had my one moment to talk to him, kind of thing. So, this is my observation of the director of high performance. For the last 25 years, being embedded with teams, there was always a level of tension between the sports med, the athletic training room, and the strength and conditioning room. Mm-hmm. Hey, you're slowing my guys down. I can't get them strong enough. Hey, you're getting my guy injured and you're not letting them recover. Like, there's always that battle. And so I saw that these two entities in this sort of, again, they all still have the same goal, which is they want the team to be successful, but sometimes the process becomes a bit of a jockey. At some point, someone in the strength room and someone in the training room figured out if I could be in charge or oversee it, they kind of control all domains. So to your point, most directors of high performance, they're either strength coaches that figured out if I can come up over the top, I can help guide the decision making in sports medicine too, or it's a physical therapist or an athletic trainer who's done the exact same thing. What's funny is as staffs have expanded with nutrition and psychologists, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, the strength coach who became the high performance or the athletic trainer who became high performance inherited all these other domains that they were like, oh, I got to do this shit too. Now, here's where I've kind of differentiated myself. The last 7 jobs that I've had, I reported directly to ownership. Ooh. And the reason why I did that, as much as I love working with a team and I value the idea of collaboration, what I found was if I report to ownership, I can be a resource to anyone in the building without there being any of that kind of internal politics skewing the ability for someone to seek out my resource. So my personal philosophy is I'm a big believer in patient-centered care, which is the individual drives the bus, and treatment team collaboration. So I love working for an organization when the head strength coach and the head athletic trainer and the nutritionist and the psychologist, we're all working together and we're meeting and we're communicating with one another. It's a thing of beauty.
Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. Why don't you celebrate by watching more videos just like it? You can also help us on our quest to placate the algorithm gods by liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. Thank you.